Greetings, Fright Nights and Monster Girls. I'm Count Jackula.
And I'm the Horror Guru.
And we just saw Jan Evrenol's latest film, Housewife.
Indeed we did. This is a mindfuck if there ever was one.
Yeah, this is Jan Evrenol's follow-up to Baskin, and if you remember our vlog on that movie, we loved that one.
It's a fucking masterpiece.
This one is even crazier.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat because it doesn't start out that way.
No, it starts off way more grounded.
Yeah.
And then gets crazier as it goes on.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, when we say grounded, it does start off with a mother trying to kill her two children.
Yeah. I mean, it's still kind of at 11 for most horror movies.
Yeah.
You know?
It starts out right there, and then it is all about this woman meeting a cult leader who teaches her how to travel through dreams.
Yep. And then the rest of the movie is this giant question of like, what's a dream? What's real? Is anything real? Or have we been stuck in a dream ever since?
Yeah.
What's going on? It's very Phantasm in that way.
I was about to say, if you're a big fan of Phantasm, you'll like this movie. It's very, very much in line with that.
Imagine if a movie like Phantasm had like the cult-like aspects of Baskin, but like was shot like a Lucio Fulci, Dario Argento, Mario Bava Italian horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah, this one way more so than Baskin. He's using a lot of the Mario Bava lighting.
Hardcore.
Woo!
You know, you get like the Mario Bava like walking through a forest in the smoke.
Oh yeah.
You get it like the Dario Argento of a woman running with like some sharp object with like red and blues.
You know, there's definitely there's that feeling of like maybe they had her on a trolley so she could kind of float forward.
It even has a score that reminded me a lot of Deep Red.
It's It was very, very much has a synth score, very Goblin and John Carpenter inspired.
The entire time I'm watching the movie, even when the score wasn't playing, it was playing in my head. It got stuck in my head, and it was very
haunts
catchy.
You. It's a very simple tune that it plays a lot, you know, and it gets stuck in your head, so it will haunt you.
Yep.
It's I'm hearing it right now.
Yep.
You know,
it's there.
It's a real good movie.
It's super fucked up too.
Yeah. No, this is a Horns movie if there ever was one.
Oh man, another endurance test. Can you handle it?
Can you handle it? This is absolutely a fucked up movie. I loved it.
Me too. Me too. My only criticism isn't really a criticism because there's parts of it that kind of adds to the movie. Is that it's very obvious. This is his first English language film, and it's very obvious that most of the actors in this movie, English is not their native tongue.
Yeah, they're like the cult leader who's like half Japanese, half white, half Japanese.
He's the one where
he speaks English.
He seems like he's the most comfortable. With the English language. With everyone else, it's like their second or third language, and so it kind of has like a milder version of like when you're watching Takashi Miike's Imprint or Sukiyaki Western Django, to where like the dialogue is a little off compared to the performances.
Well, I felt like it just sort of added to watching an Italian horror film because like the dubbing in those is just
that's what I was gonna say.
Awful.
That's why I was gonna say it's only kind of a criticism because it did kind of add to that Argento feel. Because
you feel like you're watching a foreign language movie that was done in English, which is what all those Argento Fulci movies kind of are.
Like, Argento's later movies would basically have the same thing that this movie has, where they're not dubbed anymore. They're actually recorded audio on location, but with a bunch of actors he's using that don't speak English very well.
Yeah, but this movie pulls it off a lot better than some of the later Argento ones.
This movie does not. Everyone. It's very obvious that they were fluent in the tongue.
Oh yes,
it just wasn't their first language, so you can tell in some of like the enunciation sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes the accents are a little heavy, but they're not bad at all.
But if that's the only thing I have to say about this movie that's even remotely negative, this movie is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, if you're familiar with some of Jan Evrenol's like other work, like Baskin, there are a lot of his signatures in here. There is a really graphic birth scene, which I love those.
There's a creepy cult. The cult members performing some sort of rituals and things like that. That's a thing. Also, dreamlike feels.
Yeah.
Of like moving through one dream to another.
Yeah, and the feel of like, and there's some homage to Wicked City in here, which finding out that was one of the inspirations of the movie, Wicked City, and
makes sense.
Yeah, stuff like that. I was like, oh, thank you. Like,
and the best way I could put it, like the biggest difference is that if Baskin was full on Satanist, this is super Lovecraftian.
Yeah, this is much more like The King in Yellow.
Like if you like The Void, you'll probably
yeah. If you like The Void, you'll love this movie. Mm-hmm. Like it's a very similar setup with a very different path.
Yes.
So, for those of you who may not be familiar, like Jan Evrenol is a Turkish director, and one of the reasons I admire him so much is he's taking Turkish film to like legit levels.
Oh God, yeah.
Before it used to be like a joke. It's like, oh, it's Turkish Star Wars.
Yeah.
But then I saw his movies and I'm like, oh no, we're actually doing it for real now.
His movies aren't just phenomenally like intense horror movies. They're also just pure pieces of art.
Oh yeah.
And I appreciate that. You can tell that he puts a lot of detail into every frame. And it's a joy to look at, even though you're kind of cringing at the shit happening on screen a lot. Because,
yeah. We'll get into some of that in spoilers, kids. But let it be said that this is not not go light on the visuals.
This also has a lot of Polanski in it too, like a lot more Polanski than Baskin did.
Yes, yeah, and in many ways, there's a bit of like, what the problem with the fucking Rosemary's Baby is? Mm-hmm. It didn't commit.
It didn't go far enough.
Gotta commit more, Baskin, was much more heavy metal in its approach.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Whereas this one is a little more art housey.
When you sit there and you watch Baskin, you can see almost anything happening in that movie being in like some death metal music video.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whereas this would be like a Goblin music video.
Yes. Yeah. Like this is. It does feel like a lot of those like videos you see on YouTube of like synthcore bands. Yeah. Like, Carpenter Brute or
absolutely. Total like Carpenter Brute would like if you were to put like all this footage under a Carpenter Brute soundtrack, it would fit.
Oh yeah, it'd be perfect. It'd be perfect. You wouldn't know someone had fucking fucked around. You would have thought that's just the video they made, and oh man, I hope I can get him on the show again to talk about this movie.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because I got him to talk on the stream to talk about Baskin, and that was amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
And this one...
link this video to him on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, we're doing it.
See what happens.
We're doing it.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, and if you those who have not seen it, I believe on this channel you can find his interview he did.
Yeah.
With Jan, like 3 years ago when Baskin came out.
He had just wrapped up principal photography on this movie.
Oh yeah,
that's right. When I started corresponding with him, and the only reason I got to end this right now after being on for like 2-3 hours is he had to like deal with the effect shots from this movie.
And having seen the movie, I can see why.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of effect shots in this thing, especially near the end.
Yeah.
Ooh, like this. I was glad the ending does not blow it.
No.
The ending, it goes all the way.
No.
It went all the way.
It also, like, for as fucked up a movie, it kind of end on this, like, gleefully evil ending.
Yeah. Well, like, those are the best. That's like Lords of Salem. Or,
Lords of Salem. Well, both this and Lords of Salem were kind of pulling from the same sources. So
yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of them. And I felt a little bit weird because once you get to the cult leader, I was sort of like,
Japanese Count Jackula.
Yeah, Japanese Count Jackula.
And his Lovecraftian cult.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm not... I could see myself being that guy pretty easy. All right. So, without further ado, let's go into the spoilers. Okay,
this is a movie that deals a lot with religion, deals a lot with motherhood.
Yep.
It deals a lot with women's sexuality.
Oh, yes.
And dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Those are some of the big themes that come up over and over again in this movie.
One of a scene that when I see it in a movie, I'm like, oh, the director means business, is the female masturbation scene.
Oh, yeah.
When you see one of those, like, I'm sure eventually it's just going to be like, oh, God, another one of these at some point. But we're not there yet. Not anywhere close. Every time I'm in a horror movie or a thriller and there's a female masturbation scene where there's intercut with, like, some fucked up memory they're having, I'm like, this movie means business.
Yes.
Like Stoker. Stoker had one of those, and I was like, oh, shit, this movie means business.
Another fucked up movie that's also like a pure piece of art.
Yeah.
This movie, like, in the beginning, you basically have this mother who... You have these two sisters. One of them's period just hit.
Yeah.
And when the mother finds out, she then proceeds to drown her.
Yeah. Like, proceeds to drown her in the toilet.
After praying to whoever the fuck she's praying to. At first you're like, oh, it's like Catholicism or some shit or whatever, but then she keeps referring to the visitors.
Yeah.
That who are telling her to do things and stuff.
Yeah.
And the sister...
And there's like this creepy old woman in a painting, like...
With this locket.
Yeah.
That seems to be passed down generationally because the mom had it and then the main character has it later.
So you feel like this has got to be like great-grandma or something.
That was my assumption. I don't know if that's 100% who she was supposed to be, but like, especially at the end when they mentioned that like it has to be the next of kin or something like that.
Yeah.
I assumed that it was like a weird lineage thing. Like these people were destined to give birth to the Antichrist or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like Antichrist, Cthulhu, baby, you tell me, you know?
And so like... Daughter discovers mom trying to kill sister, tries to fight back against mom. Dad comes home. Mom kills dad, but then dad
in pretty fucking short order.
Yeah, and then we cut to the future in which the daughter has grown up, has serious anxiety issues surrounding toilets because that's where her sister was being drowned. Has serious anxiety issues surrounding mothers and motherhood.
Yeah,
for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
and her and her husband are going to this weird cult meeting because their old friend is going to be at it.
Yeah.
And her husband's like, I don't know what to call him other than he's Turkish Clive Barker.
Yeah, he's Turkish Clive Barker.
He does these like really fucked up like satanic and like Lovecraftian drawings, but he also writes books on like paranormal research. So he's not like a fiction author like Clive Barker, but there's a lot about him that...
Yeah, there's a lot that is like... I felt like the background of the character, not necessarily the actions of the character, but the background of the character is kind of an homage to Clive Barker.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was
I would not be either, you know? Especially given the fact that the guy's, like... mugshot is in the same pose as Clive Barker on the back of like a Magica Weave World.
Yep. Yeah. It looked, even like the way he was posed looked like Clive Barker.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, no, I think if it wasn't intentional, it's a really good coincidence.
And so like their friend is really trying to get her to go to this cult meeting to become a part of the family and do all this stuff, which is never a good sign in a movie.
Oh yeah.
Anytime your friend wants you to join their weird family, it's not a good sign.
I don't know what you're talking about. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. That's a family movie, okay? That's a movie about family. It has a beautiful ending. Come on.
And so this is where the real turning point of the movie happens, because she's been having nightmares. Like there's a point in which she's like masturbating, but she's like flashing between sex with I presume her friend. Her female friend.
It looks like. It might sex with someone.
Yeah.
Because you only really see her. Yeah, but you know there's someone.
You
on
see
top
body
of her.
parts.
Yeah,
you know, and it looked to me like it was a feminine body, but who knows? And she's masturbating that, but she's also having like flashes of her sister getting murdered by her mom. Yeah. While she's doing it, so you have like these weird nightmare dream sequences. But then when they go to the cult meeting and they meet the cult leader, and he mind melds with her.
Yeah, he puts his hand
because she's the chosen one. At that point on, the movie just goes from dreamscape to dreamscape, slowly breaking away from reality to where you don't know if you're even in the real world anymore by the end of it.
Yeah. At that point, you're just you may be in dream world. You may not be.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you. You know?
And over the course of these dreams, you discover that she is supposed to be the person who gives birth to, I guess, their queen? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like, she births a kid, and this act is going to cause the apocalypse.
Yeah.
You know, like definitely, like, you're supposed to feel like, you know, the gates of hell have opened, and now everything's
But me just describing that is only scratching the surface of how weird this gets, because, like,
oh god, yeah,
weird cult leader guy, like, pulls out dream version of her mom and cuts off her mom's face and then wears it and then impregnates her with his bloody hand. And there's these weird little, like, Phantasm style, like, little people running around.
Yeah, that's actually what made me think of Phantasm the most. The fact that they have, like, little kids that are just like the fucking things from Phantasm.
And it's like when you see their faces, they're little kids, but you see their hands and they're like little goblin hands.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, oh man, like, if this isn't like Jan homaging Phantasm, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. I was kind of hoping that, like, some sort of silver object would show up, you know, but that probably would have been too far.
Yep. And then she's, like, going from, like, dream to dream. Like, some of the dreams are, like, flashbacks, but they're, like, reworked flashbacks in which she kills her sister. And you're not sure which is the real memory anymore.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, there are a lot of people there are a lot of moments where you're not sure if a dream person is being killed or a real person.
Yeah, and you're also not sure how much is cult leader guy manipulating her memories and shit. And but I did like the part where she goes back to when her mom was chasing her, and when her mom's yelling at the visitor that's talking to her, it's her.
Yeah.
She's yelling at, and I'm like, oh shit, like that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the reason the family is called, like, I forget, it's called, like, the Umbrella Group or whatever. Like, first of all, okay, Res Evil reference right there, because the minute you call something Umbrella, you know it's bad.
Yeah, it's never a good sign.
Never a good sign. A horror milieu, Umbrella is not your friend.
Don't join any organization called Umbrella.
It's a bad idea. It's a real bad idea. So, but when in the beginning, she picks up an umbrella to defend herself.
Yeah.
So that becomes like a metaphor throughout the movie.
And it wasn't until it went back to her memory that I realized, oh shit, the group's called Umbrella and she has an umbrella there. Like, I didn't piece that together until she goes back through her own memories and is walking through them.
Yeah, it was really good.
But what I liked about it is that you're not sure, is she actually going back through her memories? Is this still a dream? Or did she just go back in time and dream walk?
Yeah.
And is she astral projecting at this point? Because when the mom recognizes her as the visitor, I'm like, well, is that what she was being visited by? Like,
yeah. Yeah, because you're pretty sure something happened.
Yeah.
You know, just like in Phantasm, you know something went down. And you're just not entirely sure which parts are real world, which parts are dream world, or if it even matters.
And if you like that in Phantasm, you will fucking love it in this one.
Yeah. Dude, Jan Evrenol, if they told me, like, we're going to remake Phantasm, I'd be like, Jan Evrenol's going to direct.
Ooh, I hadn't thought of that. I'd watch that.
Yeah. Get on it. Get on it, Hollywood. What the hell you waiting for?
And, like, man, it's a movie that's going to sit with you, too. You're going to be thinking about it and trying to piece all the things together and try to, like, is it trying to say something or was it just trying to fuck with me? And I'm okay with either answer.
Because I didn't feel, unlike a lot of other movies that do this, you don't feel insulted.
No.
You know, you feel like
it took me on a goddamn journey.
Yeah. It's a funhouse ride. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a funhouse ride.
But what I do like is that you do have character growth.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, this character, when we first encounter adult version of her, you know, she's scared of mothers and motherhood. She doesn't want to have a kid. And by the end of it, she's happy to have a kid.
Yeah, she has a kid. She's
happy to have a kid. I mean, it's the end of the world.
Antichrist Cthulhu baby, but
there's tentacles in the sky.
Yeah, oh my God. That was the thing I was afraid we were going to skimp out on.
Well, because they keep hinting at it throughout the entire movie. You keep having these paintings by her husband that all have, and he's not sure why he's painting them. He's not sure. He just knows that he's trying to find a new cover for his book. And he keeps painting these paintings that have like these tentacles coming out of the sky. Some of them have like a woman standing there.
Yeah.
And some of them have like these cult members all surrounded and stuff like that, which ends up being the final shot of the movie.
Yeah.
Or one of the final shots.
Yeah. Well, like you can tell that that's what the setup was, and I was just really afraid they weren't gonna do it.
Because so often movies like this go right up to that brink and then don't go the full step.
Yeah.
Because pulling off things like tentacles in the sky used to be a lot harder to do.
Yeah. Well, like with Red State, that was one that was supposed to have a big, insane art house effects ending and then smash cut.
Fucking having like an angel come down and stab the guy in the chest.
Yeah.
As he's proselytizing, and he couldn't afford it. So
yeah, which is really too bad because you're like, no, that's how that movie should have ended. If he had done that, it would have been like. It would have been one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
But this movie, much like The Void, goes all the way.
This one went all the way, yeah. This one did it, and I can't recommend it enough.
Oh, I highly recommend it. This is a double horns.
Oh, God, yeah.
Double horns.
It's a double horns film, and you should check it out. It's currently on Shudder, so if you have that, or it's also on that Amazon Prime, so we'll leave a link in the description below, and so you can just go and be like, oh, hey, I don't want to watch this movie. Go description below. Beep. Bonk.
And you should definitely watch this movie if you like fucked up movies.
Oh, God, yeah.
Watch this movie, support Jen, because I want to see whatever the fuck comes out of his mind next.
Fuck
you
yeah.
know?
Fuck yes. Like, this is, look, keep watching fucked up movies. This is when you check out Housewife by Jan Evrenol. Like, enough said, right?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Guru, where can they find you?
You can find me at The Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. Just look up The Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I should be there.
And you can, of course, find me on Twitter, on Instagram, and we stream every Thursday at 6 p.m. and every Sunday at 9 p.m., and that's Pacific Standard Time. And we'd love to see you there. And hey, if you're like, hey, how do I support you guys?
Oh, that's right.
We got that Patreon.
We got a Patreon.
Yeah, the link to my Patreon and Guru's will be down in the description below. So if you like one of us more than the other, hey, feel free. We're not too proud.
Oh, and to give myself a shout out here, just released a new Blood Splattered Cinema episode on my channel on Rodan, in anticipation of the new Godzilla movie coming out. So if you do not know that I released that, go to my channel and check it out right now.
You should absolutely check it out. All right, everybody. So until next time, Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno, and keep watching fucked up movies.